Hello everyone, my name is Maja and I am the editor of the IFA. Welcome to our product Spotlight. Today we're joined by Gerard Kerr, the Chief Executive of Individual Business at Acenda, and a leading advisor partner, Kris Mason of MBS, for a conversation about the future of life insurance and how innovation is reshaping the way Australians get covered. In an industry often defined by complexity and delay, Acenda is leading the charge to simplify the experience for advisors and clients alike. From launching Australia's first digital personal medical assessment report to winning the Aluka Partnership Impact Award, Acenda is setting a new benchmark for underwriting and claims. This conversation will explore how Acenda is solving real advisor pain points, what it means to lead with innovation, and how the business is evolving to deliver even greater value to the market. How are you both doing?
Very good.
Thanks, Maja. Thanks for having us.
Great to have you on our program. So congratulations on landing the Acenda launch. It appears to be a pretty exciting time for the firm at the moment. So you've got the upcoming merger, you've got a new CEO. Tell us a little bit about how everything's going.
Yeah, a lot happening, Maja, but really exciting stuff. You're right, we are currently in the workings of bringing two, I would call them stalwart companies of the Australian industry together. So the old MLC and the old Resolution, both coming together under a new Acenda brand, which is great. Like, we're bringing all that tradition and all that history, but reinvigorating it and refreshing it and bringing it together under a new name and a new collaboration. Now, we've still got a number of steps to go through just to go through the logistics. But we are in the background where we can. We're working together so we can be as ready as we can for day one, so we can really hit the ground running as a combined business.
That's great. And Kris, how do you sort of view all the changes at Acenda from your perspective?
Look, I think from our perspective, as one of the bigger insurance advisory practices, that the changes that they're looking at, especially around efficiency plays, are certainly very refreshing from our side of the fence, I suppose. Like a business like ours, the spotlight is constantly on efficiency plays and gains, and we'd be one of, I suppose, the fewer really scaled practices. I think last year we did about 3,500 advice documents to clients, or 3,500 clients were advised. So any forms of efficiencies that we can gain, and certainly that speed in turnaround time and underwriting and all the rest of it, which we'll discuss further, is really important to practices like ours. And we've got a good history of working with, historically, MLC over the last couple of years to look at efficiency gains and how we can work better together to get fundamentally better, more efficient client outcomes. So yeah, we're excited, and we really encourage any of this type of innovation. I think in the insurance industry, which has probably been lacking a bit over the last period.
And speaking of innovation, Gerard, how is Acenda sort of leading innovation and transformation in the life insurance industry? And what does that mean, I guess, for advisors and clients? We heard from Kris here that, it's been lacking over the past few years in the industry. How are you guys leading the way?
Yeah, spot on. Kris is spot on. There's certainly the speed at which we've been innovating is certainly not where we should be. But yeah, we are absolutely delighted. You touched about the award and the recent change we've just introduced, which is effectively digitising how we will actually receive our medical reports from doctors, and also how we will receive pathology reports as well. Now, traditionally, we would have gone out, asked for them, got them back, looked over them, assessed them, plugged them into a system. I'm already outlining lots of statements here. What we've done is effectively created a tailored offer that's digitally sent to the surgery. The doctor can digitally complete it, and it goes straight into our rules engine, which analyses it and can give us a decision, straight away. So we've speeded it up. We've got more accurate. We're creating data, and in many ways, it's creating a huge amount of efficiency and speed in our decision, and ultimately the customer's getting a quicker decision. But more importantly, we're supporting efficiencies with practices like Kris. Like, our view is, if we can use more technology to take away tasks that we can do free up time for the advisors' practices. That gives them more time to spend on the value add tasks that they want to do with their clients.
Yeah, definitely. So automating decisions and
yeah, I mean, you know, we've looked at it in a number of ways, and I said it's one of these probably sweet spots where we can see improving the doctor's efficiency as well. We're taking away time for the doctor, we're lowering costs, we're speeding it up, we're creating efficiencies, and even on top of that, it's a great outcome for the customer and a great outcome for the advisor. It's really one of those great sweet spots, and that just hopefully is lifting the industry's perception as well.
Kris, tell us about the sort of the great outcomes, because you guys are seeing it firsthand, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, we keep talking about efficiencies, but that is really key. I think from a industry perspective, I mean, lack of advice is an issue, all those type of things. But if you look at a firm like ours, I think the industry's, you know, especially the advice side of it, which I sit in, there's been constant whinging about commission compression and this and that. I mean, I think one way firms can get back on their feet is by being more efficient. They've had a bit of commission compression at the front, but the answer to that is doing more clients, seeing more clients more efficiently and scaling your business. I mean, insurance now I think is becoming more a scale play. The more you've got under management, the more clients you can see, the better. So I think these true efficiencies, I love seeing insurers focus on these kind of key things that can make a big difference to firms like ours. As I said, we're doing 3,500, 4,000 clients a year. If we can take one metrics that we look at really closely internally is our days from first seeing a client to completion. So we've dropped it internally from 90 to 60 days for a lot of efficiency plays. Now, I was speaking to our CFO before, his view was the more streamlined that the PMARs get, that will drop it back from 60 to 30. So that's a huge improve for us. So that allows advisors to access more clients. It's more efficient for the insurers themselves, because the less time in underwriting, the more cost efficient that is for them, not clogging up their system. And it's way better from a outcome from the client's perspective, because one thing that really concerns us as a big advice practice that's constantly got hundreds of advice documents issued is if something happens in between advice and implementation, there's potentially big problems there. So for us, it's a real compliance tick. If the sooner we see a client, the sooner we've got them technically on risk, that de-risks our business massively. So these type of real value adds around the efficiency plays are really important. I think, as I said, it's great to see Acenda really focusing on some real stuff that I think is dealing in the current market, as opposed to whinging about commissions or everything being based on price and stuff like that. Because I know a firm like ours places massive emphasis on what insurers are the most efficient for us to deal with, because that plays a big part. I mean, obviously the product and pricing and stuff is pretty commoditised, but I think if you can start getting ahead with the efficiency plays that you're bringing to the advice space, you're certainly on the right track. That's why we're really supportive of the stuff that Acenda are doing with this, and I think it's probably really the real first true efficiency that I've seen come into the market over a long period of time. So we're very encouraging of it. And as I said, it's these little things like us. If you're doing 5,000 advice documents a year, that's a lot of clients. If you're knocking every day, we knock off turnaround time, the more efficient we can be, the more new business, the more clients we can see, the more new business we can write. That's just good for the industry as a whole. I mean, distribution's the biggest issue in the insurance space at the moment. So I think an insurer focusing on what's going to help drive additional distribution in the market, that's where they're all struggling at the moment. You know, what we had 800-900 million go down to 300. You know, so we've got to get that 300 going back up. And I don't think it's necessarily going to be commissions change if we're relying on the government making changes. People have been talking about that for 10 years and the industry's nosediving. Let's control what we can control. These type of things are the things that let's focus on that and get the industry moving that way. Yeah,
definitely. And what about from your sort of perspective, what industry pain points do you guys sort of, are focused on and believe you are solving, and how is sort of Acenda approaching, reshaping that advisor experience that Kris has sort of talked about?
I mean, there's no doubt underwriting is one of those really, really important pain points, that if we can continue to improve the speed, the more everybody benefits, because everybody goes through underwriting. So it's one of those activities that every single client will go through. So some of the, as Kris pointed out, like we even looked at how it was happening and that idea of delays, how can we bring those delays down? Like on our, when we do underwriting, roughly about low 40s of every application, 40% of the application that come in, we have to get medical evidence of some form of another. So that's quite a lot.
Yeah.
And on average, before we started introducing these changes, they were taking anything up to about maybe 25, 26, 27 days. Right? It's a long time. And it's a long time for a client just go, what's happening? So when we brought out, like this is still early days with this technology that we brought out, but we're seeing really encouraging signs. So a number of months ago when we brought out the first phase of it, just by making it digital and connecting to the surgery, we already shaved off about 8 or 9 days, just because it got there instantly. And we knew it got there and it was easy for them to complete. Now that we've plugged it into our engine and make the machine make the decision instead of more and more individuals, but it's straight there, we see we can even halve that again. So if we can get this down into single digits, that's a massive leap forward. Are we happy with that? No, we'll want to do more, but let's do it with as you learn all the pieces you do along the way, you get real insights, because we've got to make sure the surgeries are comfortable with it, and they will give us learnings in themselves. So we'll capture all these extra bits we're looking to try to do. But it's one big pain point. There are many other pain points we want to take out of the system, because there will be pain points in the existing portfolio. How do we make alterations easy? How do we make that quicker? How do we remove paperwork from in there? So again, you're doing it in a digital experience, because I think we do it in our other day-to-day life. We do digital stuff. And I think most people assume, why can't I do it in there too? So it's up to us to do that catch up and start to implement them. And we're also introducing it into claims. So take them all out step by step, but doing it in partnership with large practices like Kris, we get great learnings of what's the most important one to focus on, rather than what we think is the most important. We kind of go, what will help your business get to where you want it to go, and how can we help? And then we go, actually, there's a win-win here with what you've just suggested. Yeah. So the more of those gems we get, they're the ones that will get to the top of the list. Yeah.
So more advisor feedback and really shaping your approach with that. Yeah.
I mean, it's probably been 101 for a number of years. When the advisor practices are continuing to be successful, hey, we benefit.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It's been...
I think just on that as well, Maja, like the public's underwriting perception of being extremely painful will be a good one to start shifting a bit. I mean, every second client that we see has had some horror story of being in underwriting for 6 to 12 months, and this is going to be a massive headache to change my insurances or get them updated or whatever it is. So I think when we bring this stuff into play, the more clients that are getting more seamless, quicker experiences and getting stuff turned around, advice implemented quicker and more efficiently, it'll just be a good thing for the market. And I'm married to a cardiologist, so I know, I see the value on her side. I know the pain. I know on her, if I look at her in-tray, insurance reports will sit down here, and she's got immediate patient work. So I think, they're just playing to the market very smartly in as much as if all of a sudden they need her to answer 3 questions about your heart issues that you've had over the last 12 months, and she can do that and click down boxes in 3 minutes. That's going to be quicker, more efficient, gets back in, goes straight into underwriting. That's not then waiting on someone to look at it 2 days later. It just makes a lot of sense in the world we live in. I think, you're making everyone's life easier. Don't discount the client, the end consumer. If the more good news stories are out there, that was easy, because I know our advisors will often, one of the first things they snuff out is, don't worry, this isn't going to be a pain in the backside. It's a pretty straightforward process. I need you to do this, and this, and we'll get this implemented quickly and efficiently for you. So, that's a perception that would be holding, Australians back from getting advice or getting stuff updated and what have you that they actually need to be doing. So I think, I'd like to think with this type of innovation in the market, it will actually, if you pull it right back to the end consumer, it's going to be a good thing as well. Because the more and more people go, that was actually easy to get that stuff implemented. It was quick, it was efficient. And it was a better process, as opposed to that narrative that we've been dealing with for 20 years around this is a pain in the backside, this just took forever. And that, to be honest, is why a lot of wealth firms and stuff have got away from doing it, because it's just, this is too hard, this workload, I don't know how long it's going to take, I can't charge for it and all the rest of it. So I think it's, we'll go a fair way to fixing some fundamental flaws in the distribution side of things.
And Jared, what outcomes are you seeing so far in terms of, the business impact, and how are they sort of shaping the future of individual business at Acenda?
Yeah. I mean, I've touched on we've seen some really encouraging early signs.
Yeah.
The mere fact that even this has been in the market 4 months, and even in those 4 months, we've seen the turnaround times materially drop. They've gone from, like I said, mid-20s turnaround times. Now we're into the mid-teens. So that's a huge leap forward. We're also getting great learnings just by even talking to the doctor surgeries. Kris is spot on. The medical professions, they've got a lot of people wanting their time and wanting their information. And all we want to do is just make it easy for them.
Simplify.
And that's simplified, but that just lifts the perception of the industry as well. Just the mere fact that we're starting to make things easy for that side of the profession, the industry itself gets an overall list as, oh, you guys aren't as intrusive or aren't as demanding, and this is making it easy for me. So as we build on those blocks, we know at this next stage that we've just released, we're going to see that even drop again. We reckon by 50% on top of the 50% already. We're also getting it where we get blood test results. So you have these. So they're more straightforward because there's a high and a low. You get those results plugged straight into an engine and it's in between. The engine can make the decision. It's standard tick. So again, the speed of being able to go back through the advisor's practices to say, here's a quick decision. And when you get that surprise element, oh my God, I was expecting this longer. Yeah. That's rich. So that helps then with improving other perceptions. But as I think I mentioned, we know that's one part of our interaction with the advisor and his clients. We've got to then take those learnings into how we make changes to the policy easy, how we do premium collections easy, how do we alterations easy, make them easy. And we're already doing a lot of sort of technology support even in our claims world. We've got our Vivo program, which is sort of Vivo Companion, which is sort of a digital engagement with clients on claim, and they love it. These are sort of engagements, and that's their preferred way of communicating. So that suits them. So it's understanding these sort of technology tools that not everyone will want them, but it's finding out those who do and making it easy for them. And for those who don't, you just find something else for them.
Yeah,
so it's
good way to put it.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, what opportunities do you sort of see to deepen innovation and strengthen those advisor relationships?
Yeah, we've used the word efficiencies a couple of times today, and to me they're the richness. Absolutely, we have to have a strong product and a strong price. That's a given. That gets you off first base. Is the way I describe it. The other elements is more longer term. So by just having a much easier interaction, particularly with the large practices, because they are very big businesses. I mean, they're very big businesses driving towards their goals, their aspirations. They've got a lot of skills within their business. And if those people, even within their businesses, kind of go, hey, that organization over there, we work in harmony with them. They make our job easier. They make our experience that we're trying to give to the clients easier. We know that's a really strong partnership for us to strive towards. And that's what we're striving for. I mean, that's what Acenda is really striving for is, have the great compelling offer, because that's a must. In the industry, we must have them. But get all these other value parts up higher, right across what I would call the touch points we do. And we ask, like I said earlier on, what's the most important one? We strive to. I used an old phrase, and it's just if we can listen and then we can act, we can deliver. I think we come a long way.
Definitely. And Kris, what are you hoping for in terms of Acenda's future communication with advisors? What are your sort of expectations of what comes next?
I think it's just building on what they're doing at the moment. Like efficiency, I think, is the key to the market. Full stop. I mean, I spoke earlier about the need for distribution. I mean, if you look at the whole value chain, access to advice is an issue. So the more efficient people are, the more people they can give advice to. In the insurance space, the more clients you've got, the better for your business. The bigger it is, the more it's worth, all the rest of it. And then, the insurers need distribution. So I think, getting this, especially the medical piece right, is a key to the efficiency. We'd like to look at, certainly, I think there's work that needs to be done around pricing of insurance policies moving forward. I think this race to the bottom and this 5-year discounting and then getting over expensive, we'd like to look at some things that, you get a client to a 4 or 5 year point. Is there some basic medical stuff that you can just get back to the insurer, get the pricing readdressed and get it moved back to more modern pricing? The insurer gets to reassess their risk, so it becomes a more acceptable risk for them because they've got an updated snapshot. The consumer doesn't have to move around and redo everything all over again, and it's better for the advice firm that they don't have to constantly move clients around, and they can spend more time bringing new clients in. So I think, if we can get efficiencies around gaining relevant medical information and stuff, it actually opens the door to do a lot of stuff around not only onboarding, but actually keeping clients on the books longer, all the rest of it. And we'll play into some of the other issues in the market around policies getting moved around, large lapse rates, pricing issues and things like that, where I think, again, I just look at that stuff. You look at every stakeholder in it, starting from the consumer, finishing with the insurer. If we can get some outcomes that work for everyone. But the key to all this stuff is actually being able to get your hands on the relevant information quickly, efficiently, to make decisions, automate as many of the decisions as possible. And then I think we can just get back into a space where we're starting to be pretty dynamic about a lot of stuff and get some strength back in the industry, whether that be, because as an advisor, I want to see insurers, I want to see them profitable, I want to see the retention of products right, I want to see the market growing, I want to see advice firms thriving, and I want consumers getting access to advice. So there's a fair bit of work to be done, but I think this is a great way to start. And I think, as an insurer, if you're starting with efficiencies, the good firms are going to really, you'll attract the right people because they'll be the firms that are looking to grow and actually get active and ultimately bring more distribution to the table. So I think where they're starting is a great point.
Any final words, Jared, from you?
I mean, it's I would view this as a great start for us, and we will take a lot of learnings out of this. I mean, the other beauty of what is a nice little bonus for us, we'll get rich data. Like there's a lot of rich data, and when you get rich data, again, you make better decisions. So when you make better decisions, you make more efficient outcomes.
Definitely.
But no, we view this as the beginning of our journey. There's so much more. The team and we just want to do more and more. To Kris's point, we want this industry to grow. Like ultimately, we know there is a massive amount of unserved, unsupported people there when we consider how much insurance used to be written a couple of years ago. But yet there's more Australians, more people with debt, more income than there's ever been. So therefore there's greater opportunities out there. So the more we can take away all those pain points, hopefully the more we're freeing up capacity for more people to be supported. And the industry, it's starting to grow a little bit, but it's not actually fulfilling its potential. Yeah. So we're very supportive of that. We're delighted to be, learning a lot from practices like Kris of where we can spend our time better.
Definitely. Well, thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you. Thanks, Maja.
And thank you to our audience for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll catch you again next time.